Hey, welcome to Hatha Flow. Today we're doing it on a Friday to end the week. And hopefully you're feeling kind of full of that New Year's motivational energy still or not, whichever one it is, we'll do some movement to get things moving. Um, we're going to be starting seated today, and make sure you have any props that you might need nearby, notably a strap or a tea towel. And then if you have anything like blocks or books or even pillows or cushions would be great. I'll make my way to my mat. So we'll start in a nice tall seat. Shake out the shoulders a little bit and then settle into your pelvis. Feel that base that you have and settle into it. Really connect with the earth. Allow your body to grow up and out. And then perhaps you come to a soft gaze or close your eyes. My theme this week has been showing up for yourself. And there's so many ways that this can be taken. Yesterday, my meditation and my restore class were all about really acknowledging every single piece of us, from every emotion to every thought to every physical sensation. And just being there, holding space for ourselves. Today, we're going to show up for that which we know is within. All the power, all the motivation, even though it doesn't feel that way sometimes. All the strength. If it doesn't have an arena to play in, if nobody's believing that it's there, then it might not be able to come out and play as often. So we're going to show up for those parts of ourselves, for the light, the power, the strength, even when it feels dim. Today in class, we're giving it an opportunity to come out and play. As we sit here, we also show up for every sensation. We set the intention to meet our bodies where they're at. To hold shapes, even though they're uncomfortable, to hold them if they feel like they're creating more in our body. But if it feels like pain, shooting sharp burning, pinching, restrictive pain, closing off type pain, then we reset and find somewhere more productive. We take breaks when we need to. We give our bodies the chance to be challenged when we need to. If the eyes were closed, you can slowly flutter them open. And 3 times we'll carve out some space around us, reaching up overhead, exhaling, drawing those hands back down through the center. 2 more. And 1 more. Beautiful. Hold here for a moment. Maybe set your own intention for your class today. Acknowledge where you are. Acknowledge where the practice has come from, all its roots. And then we'll interlace the fingers in front of us. And exhale, press those palms out in front, curl the back. Inhale, reach up. Keep the fingers interlaced. Exhale, press them out. 3 more of those. Getting some movement through that spine, through the shoulder girdle, through the front and back body. And then after that last one, we'll hold it up there for a moment. Release the fingers. Let the shoulders drop down. And again, connect to the base of your seat and feel everything from the pelvis up through the fingertips, lengthening, reaching. 2 more breaths here, really filling up the rib cage, filling up the abdomen. Last one. Take that right hand on the left knee. Left hand can come to the back of the pelvis or even the floor behind you as you do a gentle twist here, looking out over that left shoulder, keeping the length in your body that you've created. And now feeling all the muscles that need to be recruited to twist here. Inhale, come back to center. Take that left hand on the right knee, right hand either the back of the pelvis or on the floor behind you, and twist. And back to center. We'll take the fingertips out in front and walk forward with the fingertips, but keep those hips anchored back. Let go of the head and neck. Maybe let out a few sighs here. And then walking back up. Maybe you can cross the legs the opposite way and do the same thing for the sake of balance. And then slowly back up to center. We're going to take any cushions that we were seated on away from us and bring the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, on all fours. As we start to move into cat and cow, inhale, open that front body, and exhale, open the back. Keep moving with your breath, taking as long as you need, bringing in as many different vertebrae as possible, using the arms and the shoulders, the pelvis, the head, maybe even making extra barrel movements if it calls to you, or circular movements, side to side movements. And then slowly come back to neutral. Keeping the hips over the knees, walk the hands forward so that you come to a puppy pose. Start to melt the head down between the arms. Maybe the forehead or the chin or even the chest comes down to the earth as those hips stay high. And keep the arms extended here to get a nice long stretch through the arms to open that heart. And then slowly walk back to all fours. We're going to curl the toes under and come back into a downward facing dog. Hips up and back. The knees may still be bent, but that spine is reaching long in its natural curves. You can walk out your dog a little bit, do some wiggles to initiate your standing practice. And then we'll slowly start to come to the front of the mat in a forward fold. Feet are parallel, knees are bent as much as they need to be. And we hang here for a moment. We shake our heads no, we nod them yes. And again, we come back to our intention of creating space for ourselves, for those best selves inside, all of the power, all of the strength. We'll give it an opportunity to shine today. Slowly come all the way up. Roll the shoulders back, and we get ready for our flows. As we inhale, reach the arms up above. Exhale, fold forward. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhale, come all the way up, pressing into the feet. And exhale, dive forward. One more time, strong up, keeping that back strong and neutral. And exhale, all the way down. Next inhalation, Ardha Uttanasana, look up halfway, lengthen. And exhale, fold. 2 more of those. So halfway, look up, press that heart forward. And exhale, release. And one more time. And down. Plant the hands, step back into your first plank pose. So that might be on your knees, it might be on your elbows, or on hands and toes, wherever you're at today. Hug everything into the midline. Release the face. Make sure the head and neck are mobile. Shoulders over the back. Heart open. Ribs down. Belly button in. Thighs hugging to the bones. Heels pressing back for 3, for 2, and 1. Drop the knees down. 3 shoulder flows. So we come back into a half child's pose here. And then we drag the nose forward, elbows out to the side, and press up. 2 more. All the way back, stretching back, curling back, inhaling, pulling, opening, slithering forward. 1 more. Beautiful. And then we're going to come all the way down onto our abdomen. Hands off the floor, tops of the feet on the floor. And we come up 4 times, inhaling to a baby cobra, lifting the heart, exhaling, coming down. 3 more. So start to explore your own range of motion here. Where can you keep going? Where does your breathing take you? Hold on that last one, rolling the shoulders back and rolling them back again, squeezing those elbows in, softening the gaze, and getting long for 3, 2, 1. Hands plant onto the earth, curl the toes under, come into your recovery pose. Maybe it's down dog, maybe it's a child's or a puppy. Beautiful. We're going to come down onto hands and knees again, and then get into the hips a little bit. We're going to bring that right leg up and start to make circles. Keep the knee bent. So 4 circles in each direction. Now on the hands, we usually do this on the elbows. On the hands, we really have to make sure the core is active so that we're not hyper arching in the lower back every time we move that leg. So keep those ribs in, 4 in the other direction. Keep that lower abdomen awake and alive. And if it is bothering your low back, come down on your elbows to keep that neutral torso. And after those 4, we go to the other leg. So left knee comes up. Make 4 circles in each direction here. Hopefully not putting a hole through my wall one day. And then for the other direction. Beautiful. Nice. And then back to hands and knees, back to a downward facing dog. Look up to the front of the mat, step, walk, or hop forward into a forward fold. Next inhalation brings us all the way up. And exhalation brings us back into Uttanasana, forward fold. Halfway up, look up, lengthen, press that heart forward, and exhale, set the hands down, step back into your plank again. This time we're all going to come down onto our elbows. Curl the toes under. See if you can get every single toe to contact the earth. Maybe the knees are on the floor. We've got a long spine. Those bottom ribs are still drawing in and down. The abdomen is alive and awake. For 3, for 2, and 1. And then come on to the tops of the feet. Can you hold it here for another 3, for another 2, and 1. And then start to drop those hips down into a Sphinx pose. So you might need to walk the elbows further forward. And then let everything sink down towards the earth. On the next inhalation, you're drawing the heart forward and up, tractioning the spine, seeing if you can make more room between the vertebrae. On exhale, release. 3 more. Feel the grounding, the base from the pelvis all the way down to the toes. And last one, hold it in Sphinx pose. Drawing the shoulders on the back, continuing to pull your heart forward and up. And then come all the way down, set the hands, recovery pose. Beautiful. So this time, you can come down on elbows and knees for this with a bent knee, like this. Or you can stay in downward facing dog with a straight leg. We're going to lift that right leg up out behind us. And then we're going to bring it out to the side, the hard part, and down. 3 more of those. Out to the back, out to the side. See if you can keep that left side stable and down. 2 more. Then last one. As it comes out to the side, we try to keep it as parallel to the earth as possible and down. Let's go to the left. So left leg comes up, out to the side, and down. Up, out to the side, and down. 2 more. And last one. Beautiful. And then we look to the top of the mat. We step, walk, or hop forward into Uttanasana. Fold here. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, fold. Last one of these kinds of flows. We look up halfway, lengthen. We plant the hands down, then come into our plank again. So again, any plank that suits your body right now. We hug into the midline. We see that power, that strength, that light. If you want to give it more chances to play, maybe the right leg comes up off the floor. Maybe that drops and the left leg comes up. And even more chances to play, right leg comes up and comes out to the side as much as possible. And then back to center. Then left leg comes up, goes out to the side as much as possible. And back to center. Come all the way down to the abdomen. Shake it out, nice work. This time, baby cobra with the hands on the ground. We want that same action of drawing the heart forward and as we did in Sphinx, and the same muscle action as in hands free baby cobra. So I'm pulling my hands along the mat backwards, elbows squeezing in this time, drawing my heart forward and up with both muscle energy from the back and from the strength of my arms. For 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. And release. Curl the toes under, down dog, child's, or puppy. And we'll look to the front of the mat. Step, walk, or hop forward. And this time a little interlude here in the forward fold. So perhaps you may need blocks to bring under your hands or any other prop to bring the floor closer. If you don't have one, it just takes stepping the hands and feet away from each other until you can find a comfortable place to be folded forward. So with blocks, it's going to look like this, almost the same as in down dog. We suck that right leg up into the hip, but again, it's going to be coming out to the side first, then out to the back and down, keeping that left hip in. Let's do 3 more. So out to the side, out to the back, and down. Last one. Sorry, we've got 2 more. Now it's the last one. Side, back, and down. Nice work. Let that right foot plant. Again, suck that left hip up so that the foot comes to hover off the floor. And then we bring it out to the side, out to the back, and down. 3 more. Nice. Side, back. Last one. Nice. And then release into your forward fold. This time, bend those knees nice and deep. And come up into your first chair pose, hands at the heart. Sitting back into the heels, feet parallel. Gaze down, make sure you can see some of your toes. Draw those ribs in. Sit a little deeper. Draw those ribs in, activate the abdomen. And then inhale all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Ardha Uttanasana, look up halfway and lengthen. Exhale, fingertips to the earth. Step the left leg back behind you. Come into a lunge. You may need blocks under your hands, or your fingertips might reach the floor. Make sure the right knee is right above that right ankle. Back knee option to come down on it. I'm going to walk the left hand to the left. Right hand comes to the back of the pelvis. We twist to the right. Maybe we reach up with that right arm. And then back to center. Everybody can bring that back knee down. Maybe you have a pad or a folded blanket or a folded mat to go under there. And we're going to come up into a low lunge with or without arms. Let those hips sink forward. Feel that stable base and let your heart shine. Release the hands down. Step back into your plank pose. Come all the way down to the abdomen. Either baby cobra, or you could start to straighten the arms a little bit more while continuing to keep that traction through the back. You're still pulling your heart forward away from your pelvis. And then back into your recovery pose. Beautiful. Left foot's going to step between the hands. However it gets there, it might take more than one step. We come up onto blocks, books, or fingertips. We press through the back knee, back heel, and we make sure the front knee is right over that front ankle. Right hand walks to the right, left hand to the back of the pelvis. We twist, maybe reach. And then back to center. Come down on that back knee. Maybe there's padding there. And with either supporting yourself or reaching the arms up, we come into our little lunge. Pelvis melts forward, hips stay in line, heart shines. Beautiful, hands to the earth. Pick up that back knee and step forward. Fold. Bend the knees deep. Utkatasana, chair pose, hands at the heart, or this time if you want to reach them out in front of you, shoulders integrated, or maybe even up above, as long as those shoulders are far from the ears. Heart is still widening, core is still working. For 3, for 2, for 1. Inhale all the way up and fold again. Feeling that fire inside. Looking up, lengthening. Exhale, this time right leg steps back. We come into that runner's lunge again. If you'd like, you can bring that back knee down or keep it up this time as we tilt the body up off that front thigh. Hands on the hips, hands at the heart, or hands reaching. For 3, for 2, for 1. Now hands come to the hips. We're going to spin that back heel down and open into a warrior two. You may need to adjust your stance a little so that you're either heel to heel or heel to arch. Power up that back knee, back leg, bend that knee, and reach the arms out to the side. Gaze, feel the opening through the pelvis. 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Back hand down the back leg. Reach up and over. Keep the front knee bent as we come into exalted warrior. Challenging the body to keep persevering even through the burn. And come back to center. One last thing here. Supported humble warrior. We dive the heart to the inside edge of that left thigh, fingertips on the ground or on blocks or props, and then melt. You might even walk those fingertips away diagonally as you let go of your head and neck. Keep the back leg strong. Keep pressing out through the outer edge of that back foot. For 3, for 2, and 1. Walk to the front of the mat. Turn onto the back toes. Step back to your plank. Come down to the earth. Heart opener. Bhujangasana Cobra, Baby Bhujangasana, or even Sphinx. And then downward facing dog or any other recovery pose. Second leg, right foot steps forward. 1, 2, or many steps. We come into our runner's lunge, up on the back toes. We peel the torso off that front thigh with or without support. Hands on the hips, hands at the heart, or hands reaching up for high lunge. Anjali-asana. Bend that front knee, straighten the back leg. For 3, for 2, and 1. Hands come to the hips. We spin down on that back heel. Adjust the stance for warrior 2. Bend through the front knee. Strengthen through that back leg. Arms spread like wings. Gaze over the front hand. Gather all your strength. Find peace and calm through a steady breath. For 2, and 1. Back hand down the back leg, exalted warrior. Reach up and over, lengthen through that right side. Keep that front knee bending, keep that back leg strong. For 2, and 1. Come back to center, hands on the hips. We dive the heart to the inside edge of the right leg. Fingertips come to ground or blocks. We let the head and neck and heart melt. And perhaps walk the hands diagonally away. For 3, for 2, and 1. Now walk the hands to frame the front foot. Come onto the back toes. Step that back foot forward. Forward fold. Beautiful. Let it go here. Last, Utkatasana, chair pose. Choose your version of chair, bending into the heels, knees bent. Get that nice base. Grow the torso long out of the pelvis. Reaching up. For 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up, press into the feet. Urdhva Hastasana, reaching those hands up, grounding through the bottoms of the feet. And then next exhale, hands come down. Tadasana, mountain pose. Feel the breath. So here's where we're going to use our straps. And we're going to work a little bit on balance, work a little bit on hamstrings and the integration of all the muscles around that hip area. So if you don't have a belt, you can keep your knee bent, or if possible, you can always use your hand outside for the standing hand to foot. If you do have a belt, you're going to loop that belt or tea towel around the bottom of the right foot and cinch up on it as you draw that right knee up, balancing on the left leg. Now make sure you're not sticking the right hip out in front of you, throwing your body off balance. The hips line from front to back and from up to down. Maybe you stay here. Find some length through the neck, some tallness through the torso, and press into that left foot. This may be enough. Maybe you can even stretch that right leg out in front of you. Keep pulling that foot back in towards the body, keeping the legs straight. Beautiful. Try not to lean back through the torso. And then bend the knee and release. And shake it out. We're going to go to the other side. So looping your belt or tea towel around your left foot, along the ball of the foot, bending the left knee, hugging that left hip in towards the body so it stays even with the right. Press into that right foot, grow up through the pelvis, shoulders back and down. You may stay here. You may start to reach that left leg out in front of you. Beautiful. Keep pulling that leg back in towards the body with the strap. Finding equanimity between both sides of the hips. Very nice. And then bend that knee again and release that leg as gracefully as possible. Shake it out. Come to stillness. Now you can do the exact same thing again, or this time go a little further with me by bringing the leg out to the side and then possibly even coming into a twist at the end. So we find our standing. Again, we loop the belt around the bottom of the right foot. We lift that right knee up. Maybe we stay here with the bent knee. Maybe we extend it out. Find those stable hips, that power through the bottom leg, the light through the heart. Now bring both ends of the belt or the knee into your right hand, and keeping everything else exactly where it is, bring that right leg out to the right. Beautiful. You might reach out through the left arm. You might even gaze towards the left finger. And then come back to center. If it's in you, and it is, take that belt in the left hand and twist towards the right. Hand on the back of the pelvis, or maybe even a wall. And then come back to center, release that leg and come back to Tadasana. Beautiful work. my balance just completely goes. And I'd like to blame it on teaching at the same time, but sometimes you just don't have the balance. Let's bring that left knee up. Maybe you loop that left foot in your belt. You may keep the knee bent through the whole sequence, or start to stretch that left leg out in front of you. Connect to the power of the right leg. Connect to your core. Beautiful. Now take both ends of the belt into the left hand or the knee and bring it out to the left, keeping that right side of the body strong and tall. And then back to center. Maybe even switch hands. Bring the left hand to the pelvis and twist. And then come back to center, release, and let go. You can toss the belt up to the side here and come to your breath. Beautiful. We're going to come back to the front of the mats. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway and lengthen. And exhale, plant the hands down, step back to a plank pose, or maybe recovery. Optional vinyasa here, where you come down, come up into a heart opener of your choice, and then back into a child's pose, knees apart, toes together. Let the head rest on something. Beautiful. We're coming back to a downward dog here. We're going to reach that right leg up behind us. As we exhale, we draw the knee in and see if we can step that right foot on the outside edge of the right hand. You could stay here with the back leg up in lizard, or you could bring that back knee to the earth in lizard and then start to bend the elbows. Maybe you have a block to catch your elbows. Maybe you can bend the elbows all the way down to the earth. And release here. Come up back up onto the hands. And with just as much grace as we got into the pose, we come back out of the pose, reaching that right leg back and up through like dog. Nice, downward dog. Left leg comes up behind us. And exhale, left foot steps to the outer edge of that left hand. 1, 2, or many steps. You can keep that back knee off the ground, or it can bend down onto the earth. We start to bend the elbows to a lizard. Release through the head and neck. And then press back up onto the hands. And again, 3-legged dog. Left leg comes all the way up. And we release it down. You can shake it out. You can come into any recovery pose. What's coming next is we want to bring both feet to the outside edges of both hands into a frog squat. Now, you could do this by stepping one and then stepping the other, or if you'd like, we can bring a little bend into our knees and maybe hop them forward like a frog. So you choose either stepping one and then the other, because we will do it 2 times, so you can switch legs. Let's hop the feet to the outer edges of the hands and then come down into a squat. But always have a block to catch your sit bones. As you come into a squat, elbows on the insides of the knees, palms together. So I'll demonstrate first with the support, trying to grow long from the torso up. And then hands back down, either step or hop back into a down dog. Maybe a recovery pose. So if you stepped the feet, one and then the other, to the outside edges of the hands, try to start with the opposite foot this time. Otherwise, look up, bend the knees, and hop. And then come down again, letting those hips come down towards the earth. Knees are hugging the elbows or the triceps. Upper body is tall. Hands coming towards the heart. For 3, for 2, and 1. Bring the hands to the earth, lift those hips up, walk the feet in towards each other, and fold here. Come into whatever kind of forward fold that calls to you. Maybe you bend the knees and hug yourself. Maybe you take the peace fingers around the big toes. Maybe you even slide the entire palm under the foot, toes to the wrist crease. The inhales power up the pose. The exhales draw you closer. And then slowly release that. Curl all the way up to standing. Last Tadasana. Just stand here in mountain pose, recalibrating before we come down towards the ground. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, fold. Look up halfway, lengthen. And step back into a child's pose, knees apart, toes together. Release down. We're going to be coming straight to our backs. Make sure you have your prop nearby. So I do recommend a block of some sort. If you don't have a block, a book, something that's rectangular. If you have to do a bolster or a cushion, could work as well. So we're going to come all the way down onto our back, keep the knees bent. What we're going to be doing here is a supported bridge pose, supported Setu Bandhasana, just to really let that pelvis relax. So bring the feet parallel, knees pointed up to the sky, and have that block nearby. Just like a regular bridge pose, we're going to activate the legs, we're going to activate the back body, we're going to lift those hips up. But now we slide our block or whatever it is right under the back of the safe there. the back of the pelvis at the sacrum. So you could choose any level of support. If you need a little bit higher, you could flip the block to come a little higher. But again, you want to then settle down into that support. So even if it's a soft support, and then reach the hands out along the mat. So buttocks shouldn't be squeezed to stay up here now. You can relax through the buttocks. And it should almost feel like we can traction or having some traction through that spine. The front body fascia is getting a nice lengthening, but very gentle. You'll know if you're too high, if you're feeling a little bit too much compression, any pinching. A good indication that you're at the right level is that with every exhale, you can melt into it a little more and you feel a really nice release through the sacrum, the pelvis. Hold on there. For 3. For 2. And for one more long breath. And now, keeping the gaze up to the sky, lift the hips just enough to slide that block from underneath you. Let those hips come down to the earth. Let the knees drop in towards each other. And just recalibrate here. Bring the feet wider than hip width apart. Now knees come apart. Lift the hips, bring them over to the right slightly, and let the knees fall to the left. You may stay here. You may hook that left foot onto the right knee to pin it down. You might stretch the arms up overhead. And then bring the knees back up. Lift the hips, shift them over to the left. Let the knees fall to the right. And same thing here. You could always hook that right foot onto the left knee, pinning it down. You could bring the arms overhead. And then release, come back to center and hug those knees in. Do some rocks side to side, do some circles, massage out that low back. If it's complaining a little, might have been an indication that you went a little bit too high with that bridge. But we're going to do one more thing here on our backs to try to further release any spasming there. We'll keep the right knee in, stretch the left leg out along the mat. So holding on to the back of the right thigh or the right shin. On the next inhale, press that right leg away from you. On the exhale, soften right at that hip flexor as you hug the knee in. 2 more like that. Inhale, press the knee away. And exhale, draw it in. And 1 more. Let it relax there, all 360 degrees of that right hip joint. And then take the right knee and the right hand, pin down that left hip and draw it out to the side, just like we were doing when we were standing. And now back to center. Take it in the left hand and just very slowly start to tip it over to the left. And stop wherever it feels really good. Doesn't have to come all the way down into a twist. We're trying more here to get into that outer hip rather than a full spinal twist. And then back to center. Hug both knees in, and we'll go to the other side, keeping that left knee in. Bring that right leg out along your mat. As we inhale, we press that left knee away. As we exhale, we draw it in. So press it away on the inhalation and draw it in. And one more time. Keep that knee hugged in. Every exhale, softening deeper into that hug. Bring the left knee into the left hand, pin that right hip down, open that knee to the left. Finding a balance point here. And then drawing it back up, taking it into the right hand and drawing it towards the right. And pausing at that point where the body sighs in relief. And then back to center. Hug both knees in and prepare for your final relaxation. If there's anything else that wants to move through your body, go for it. Otherwise, you can take any position for final relaxation that speaks to you. Traditional Shavasana with the legs stretched out, palms up. On the side, on the front, legs at the wall, legs hanging over a couch. This is your position, your time to release. Maybe a meditative seat, if it calls to you. Once you get there, soft eyes, perhaps closed again. Dropping into your space. Noticing any changes in energy, thoughts, emotion, physical sensation from when you met the mat this morning. Today you showed up for yourself. You gave yourself the space and opportunity to shine, to stoke those fires, to nourish your light, to acknowledge your strength, to feel empowered. As we experiment with this, we notice how that affects the rest of our lives, how showing up for ourselves is also showing up for others. Please stay here as long as you can, as long as you'd like to. Make sure that before you leave today, you thank yourself for showing up. I thank all of you for sharing with me. And I wish you a wonderful weekend if that's where you are when you're doing this class. And just a wonderful day, wonderful week. And keep showing up. Thank you so very much. The light in me bows to the light in you.